detective. Thrill me.
Thanks for joining us again after a bit of a Judge Dredd session over the last couple of weeks. Tonight's a two-man show, though. We've lost Matty and Gibbo. I believe Gibbo tied one on. Is that true?
Yeah. Hungover.
Well, shit, Andrew. So tonight's film, probably fairly happy.
I was going to say, we finally drove him over the edge and he's been drowning his sorrows in a bottle.
Tonight's film is Maniac remake from 2012.
Just imagine him sitting at the bar. It's a fucking prick of a movie. Fuck you, blokes, for making me watch it.
Yeah, I reckon he's just sitting at the bar quietly. He's having one beer, and then he's just gone, "No, I can't do it. I can't do it tonight. I cannot do it." And he's just contacted us. "Listen, fellas, I'm tied by on. I can't handle it." But before we get to Maniac, let's do a quick around the grounds, mate. What'd you get up to? What'd you watch?
Not a whole lot. I forgot one last time we were together. Probably for the best, because you would have probably been laughing through the rest of the podcast. But I watched Hurricane Heist. You talked me into it.
Did you love it like I did?
I actually quite enjoyed
Yes,
it.
so did I.
Look,
it was fucking stupidity.
It's stupid as, but stupid as is stupid does.
Stupid's my middle name.
Look, it was fun enough. The effects and whatever aren't quite up to standard, but
No.
you know that going in, it's a bit
$70
cheesy.
million budget though.
Was it?
Yeah, yeah.
Jesus.
It was. I'm not really sure how. I think it was a $70 million budget, but it kind of sat on the shelf. Maybe
Didn't show when that fucking skull appeared in the sky.
no, it didn't.
Yeah, look, it was more fun than I anticipated. So.
Yeah, look, it's a good idea. The idea of it was okay. You know, someone trying to pull a heist in with a hurricane bearing
I
down.
don't even know if it's a good idea.
Well, for an action film pitch, it's okay.
Look, I'd like to check the science of whether you can. Just put it this way: if you're planning on watching the movies, just block your ears for a minute. But so they want to drive out in the eye of the storm, right? How do they know that it's going to follow roads? That was my big problem with the idea.
That's a legitimate question.
Normally, I don't think a hurricane hits and then just follows the highway out of town.
Yeah. You're looking too deeply.
Oh, look, I was happy to let that go because there was a couple of entertaining bits in it.
Yeah. Look, I'll never watch it again.
No, probably not.
But then again, I've said that many, many times about a lot of films.
Yeah.
So.
Been watching a bit of Young Justice.
Oh, yeah?
Popped up on Netflix. So
Yep.
getting into my old animated DC stuff again. Really good show. Especially if you got kids that like that sort of stuff. It's the storytelling's quite complex for the age group they kind of aimed at, which is why I can still watch it as an adult and really enjoy it.
Yeah.
Deadwood, the movie, got on that.
When how'd you get on that?
It's on Foxtel.
Oh.
Yeah. So
Must have just dropped it randomly, did they?
yeah, because I think they've got access to show the HBO stuff off the bat until, of course, they splinter into their own streaming service as well over here.
Was it any good?
Yeah, really good. I think they just managed to bring the characters back in enough of a capacity that you're just really enjoying seeing them again, and they tie up the loose threads that they never got the chance to with the show. I hadn't watched the show in ages. It had been a long time since I'd watched the show, so there was things that I'd forgotten about.
Yeah.
But they do a really good job of kind of refreshing the memory a little bit and tugging at the heartstrings a few times, and it was a really nice way to wrap it up.
Okay.
I watched Bleed for this. So Vinny Pazienza, so the story of him breaking his neck and then getting back in the boxing ring. Not bad, not too bad. Aaron Eckhart's fantastic as his trainer. Miles Teller's not bad. He's quite good. I don't know. It's just hard to look at these movies now and not pick out the sort of cliches and the... if you like that sort of stuff, you'll get enough out of it. Has to be said, though, look, I'll never question the bloke's ticker. He could take an absolute flogging and continue to get back up. But I got to question the smarts around getting, because he was. They actually had to change it for the film. It was like The Rookie, mate. Too unbelievable some of the stuff that actually happened.
Really?
So they stretched it out in the movie. Apparently, he was pumping weights again 5 days after he had the halo put on his
Jesus.
head, which is not smart because he could have severed his fucking spinal column. But it worked out for the bloke. So quite an interesting story to watch. Last one I watched, just on a whim, was David Harbour's little effort on Netflix. Frankenstein's Monster Frankenstein.
What? I heard it was shit house, but...
You know what? It was a surprise. Like, I didn't know what it was. But he does have some kind of amusing parts taking the piss out of, you know, pompous actors, and I don't know. I enjoyed it. I got a laugh out of it. It was a bit like...
It was short.
I compared it to the Lonely Island stuff, really. I turned that on not really knowing what to expect and got a chuckle. Wasn't as funny as that, but...
Was it a half hour?
It was a half hour.
Yeah, okay.
And essentially it's him finding the bloody footage of his dad doing a play on Frankenstein and trying to unravel, you know, what happened. And, like, I don't know, some people would probably watch it and just go, what the fuck is this? But I got a few laughs out of it.
Considering it's half an hour, it's probably not too big an impost.
Yeah. It kind of struck me as a little bit like Christopher Guest stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That kind of self-referential kind of almost
meta
style.
Yeah. And it is, I don't know. I got enough laughs out of it.
And that was it?
That was it.
All right, I was primarily on television. I finished Veronica Mars season 4. In one episode, she calls a bloke a dildo, so it's catching on. And I got a quiz. I got a query for.
Bring it back.
A bit of trivia for you.
Bringing back the dildo.
Bit of trivia for you, mate. And I'm putting it out there. A very high profile sports person is credited as a writer on one of the episodes. And the hint I'll give you is NBA Hall of Famer.
High profile. Well, look, we all know Rick Fox is in the Hollywood game, but he's not a Hall of Famer.
It's not Rick Fox. Think spanned a lot of generations.
Fuck. No idea.
Not
Kareem?
Spot on.
Kareem. Getting amongst it.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is listed as a writer of one of the episodes.
There you go.
And I looked it up on the net because I'm thinking, sure, that's not a mistake, is it? No, it was true. It's his first writing credit.
There you go.
He's obviously script writing these
Good
days.
episode?
Yeah, not bad.
Passable.
He seems to know something about the universe there, so...
There you go.
Worked out all right. All right. I finished The Society.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck, that was good. Real good.
I have to get on it.
It doesn't fully get everything right, but it asks so many interesting questions about what it would be like for this to happen.
Yeah, which is kind of what you want from that sort of thing. Yeah.
And it ends on a kind of an interesting cliffhanger, which I liked. Now, this one, me and the wife were looking for something to watch after we finished up on those other two shows.
Mm-hmm.
And we slipped over to Stan, and I came across one. It's got a really sort of, mouthful of a name. It's called The Truth About the Harry Quebert Affair. And I thought, what's this? I never really I didn't know anything about it. And it was a Stan exclusive. And I did a bit of quick checking. It was basically a kind of a murder or a true crime type of story. Obviously wasn't real, but an old a novelist who wrote a novel back in the 70s in a town in Maine. He had this relationship with a 15-year-old girl. She disappeared in 75. 30 years later, they dig up her corpse on his property. And because he became a professor, one of his students comes down to Maine to kind of look into it, doesn't believe that he did it, and they start unravelling what actually happened in 75. It was pretty good.
Sounds like a pretty good idea.
McDreamy, Patrick Dempsey, was in it.
I was interested.
No, he was pretty good, except they had him, Patrick Dempsey, age 55, in the 1975 scenes, and then have done him up 30 years later.
Oh, right.
He's got a nasty case of scrotum neck. the special effects,
Commonly known as the Hugh Jackman.
Yeah.
Sorry, that's Scrotum Chin.
He's got a nasty case of Jackman. But actually not too bad. It doesn't quite hang to the end when you kind of get
There's some words.
Hey?
The scrotum neck doesn't quite hang? Or?
I didn't even realise.
You led with the chin on that.
It doesn't. The episodes, the finale and the last kind of putting it all together, whilst interesting, is kind of a little bit. I don't know. It's a little bit overcomplicated.
How long was it?
It was 8 episodes. No,
Right.
sorry, it was 10. 10. Sorry.
10?
Yeah.
Jeez.
It's worth a look. I'll say that much. It's not for everyone. It's a bit of a slow build, but I thought it kind of had some interesting stuff going. And I love the fact that small main town with secrets underneath the surface. It's got a bit of a Stephen King type of feel.
Yeah,
so
I was going to
enjoyed
say, when you described it, I thought it sounds like something like Castle Rock kind of stuff.
Yeah, kind of, but more, non-supernatural.
Mm-hmm.
And the last thing, me and the wife have knocked off 7 of the 8 episodes of Dirty John.
Yeah?
Yeah, mate, Banner. Banner's bloody brilliant. And let me tell you something, I think it's fair to say, John Meehan was a fucking grade A arsehole. He was mate, he was a piece of shit of the highest order.
Fair?
Very fair. It's very good. It's good. It jumps around a lot, which can at times be, for, a moron like me, can be a real problem. A few times I go to the old, so where are we?
Yeah. We just imagine you with that puzzled look on your face. What the fuck just happened?
And that's it for me.
The reason I can imagine that is because I get similar puzzled looks quite often.
Alright. We were going to go to the break, but I've got some news. There was a Wall Street Journal article that came out like yesterday or the day before.
Yep.
With regards to the Fast and Furious franchise and its 3 key stars, Vin Diesel, Dwayne Johnson and Jason Statham, and the fact that it would seem that they all refuse to look weak on screen.
Yes.
And go to very large lengths to avoid it. Now, this is all kind of sources, because they have not spoken to it. They haven't answered to it. But let me put it to you this way. This is what the article indicated. Statham has a studio agreement limiting how badly he can be beaten up on screen, and visits the editing room to weigh in on fight scenes.
Fuck.
And Johnson enlists producers, editors and fight choreographers to ensure that he always gives as good as he gets.
Yeah.
Diesel, now here's my favourite, polices the number of punches he takes. He reportedly cared so much about who landed more punches, he assigned a numerical value to each move in a fight so he could make sure that Dominic Toretto never lost. The system was eventually abandoned as it was deemed too complicated.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I've actually heard The Rock talk about that.
Yeah, look.
And they specifically, him and Diesel punching on, and he said he took more punches, but there was specific times when, he made sure that he was landing hits and whatever so that it wouldn't be.
Look.
Well, this is the thing.
This is fucking lunacy,
The
though.
Rock comes from wrestling where you have to take some bumps. You got to make other people look good too. Otherwise, you don't look any good.
But the whole thing, if this article is correct, is lunacy. It's stupidity.
Yeah.
It's the kind of thing that Steven Seagal was about.
Yeah.
And we need to steer clear of that.
Yeah, well, I reckon it's a bit stupid. Like, don't you have to go through a few trials?
But also, they're the hero.
Yeah.
Right? So,
We're smart enough to know that if you cop a flogging, you're coming back at the end. Like, who gives a fuck if you look weak on camera? It's a movie.
But also,
it is acting, boys.
What's wrong with... and this is what I mean. Franchises like this, and this is why I'm not a big fan of this type of franchise, is because there's nothing at stake. There's no twist that I might go, holy shit, they just killed The Rock.
Well, there is, but it's not usually involving those guys.
Yeah.
The franchise is fine. Like,
Look,
they're on a winning formula.
I don't care that they kill off fucking Tyrese. I don't care about that.
Look, the franchise is on a winning formula. It works.
is. It's a
and I can
formula.
say that I haven't seen Hobbs and Shaw, but I've seen all the others now. I had fallen off a little bit and got behind, but I've watched them all now, and it works. Like 5 onwards is the best part of the series. Probably best that they abandoned the numerical values and things like that, because it is fucking stupid. And it doesn't matter. Like, I'm not watching that fight going, oh, geez, The Rock just got, he just got knocked on his back. What a weak prick. That's not what I'm...
Not one point in my entire life I've ever said that about any actor in any action film ever.
It's actually the reverse. Like, I watch something like Triple X and I think Vin Diesel looks fucking ridiculous because he thinks he's indestructible.
Exactly. Whereas the ones where they get flogged, I'm all for that, because it means that they're taking the punishment that you probably would.
Yeah, well, give me a bloody Iko Weiss or that sort of shit, because they go back and forth. And as you said, it's a little bit about the stakes, but you always kind of know, if you watch enough of these things, you can kind of predict where they're going to go. But I mean...
But the good thing is, take your lumps.
The Iko Weiss and those sort of, that ilk, the martial arts flicks, even something like Kickboxer. Like, I'm not a massive fan of those movies, but they were fun, and Alain Moussi gets his ass handed to him a couple of times.
They even mentioned in the article, like, this stuff's going on. And again, I'm not saying it's 100% true, because the actors haven't answered to it.
I'm pretty sure it's well accepted that it's gone on, though. I'm sure I heard The Rock mention it. But
they mentioned, like Keanu Reeves and Tom Cruise in their films where they get the shit beat out
John
of them.
Wick.
John Wick. Absolute bejesus kicked out of him. Yeah. But it's good for the film.
Well, it's no surprise John Wick is like the king of action shit at the moment, and Vin Diesel isn't. Because, I mean, as much as they want to talk about, the Fast and the Furious is his franchise, he's involved in producing it or whatever, but I'm not there to see fucking Dominic Toretto. The Rock is why I was kind of interested in seeing the newer ones, and a little bit of Statham as well.
And I think that's why it's grown in leaps and bounds.
It's Diesel's way of trying to muscle in on that territory, and it's actually the opposite. Because you look silly. That's what I think, anyway.
I mean, look, I only have to, we've half thought about it many times. You only have to go back to Die Hard to see that he took an absolute walloping, and he cries in the film, and it's the greatest action movie of all time. So what is this weakness shit that you're going on about?
Well, Diesel's a bit of a meathead, I think. Fair to say?
He's not listening.
If he was listening, look, I'm in the bloke's corner. He'll
come down here and he'll headbutt me for 3 bullets.
If you kick him in the balls, I'll say, no, sorry, that's negative.
Negative 2.
You've outpointed the system here. You're not allowed to do that.
Okay. Well, look. For me,
can you imagine trying to edit the film and have him sitting behind you?
And then in points? Hang on. I need to have a look at this too. Oh, shit.
He said, you can't hit me like that. Then Diesel's there going, but you still got 6 points on offer.
But see, I had 25 points, whereas you only had 23.
Oh, man.
Oh, God. I'm just killing
But, I mean, it's the proof's in the pudding. It's not working because I couldn't give a fuck about Dom Toretto.
Yeah.
Like, he's just there because he's part of the furniture, not because he's not getting hit. Jesus.
But I prefer the blokes getting hit.
Of course you do.
To come out of it all busted up.
Of course you do.
It seems normal.
Well, yeah.
It seems legit. All right, let's take a break. Here's the trailer for 2012's Maniac remake.
What do you do exactly?
I take pictures of mannequins. I try to bring them to life.
Would you like to see my work? I think you're incredibly talented.
They may just have found the last true romantic.
I don't know about all that.
Stop staring. You're missing the movie.
Please don't scream. You're so beautiful.
Maniac from 2012, directed by Frank Carfoon, who gave us P2. It's produced by Alex Arger, Thomas Langman and William Lustig. And now William Lustig is actually the director of the original Maniac. And the screenplay is by Alex Arger and Gregory Levissier, who wrote High Tension. It stars Elijah Wood as Frank and Nora Armazida as Anna. The budget was $6 million. I think it made 2.6 worldwide. Yeesh. A little bit of trivia, we don't see Frank's face until 12 minutes into the film. Thoughts, Jared?
Yeah, I don't know. I might be a little bit unpopular with this one, but I didn't like much of it at all, really. It was, I don't know, it was difficult to watch, and it was meant to be, obviously, in parts. I liked the stylistic choices at times, but the whole POV thing, as we've sort of mentioned, and has been mentioned by a lot of reviews and things, it really hinders the development of a story. Like, I get that you're supposed to be in his head, but it's kind of difficult to really establish anyone else all that well. And I got to the end of it, and I was just like, I don't know what I'm supposed to feel about this bloke. And I don't really... It's probably one of those ones that you would need to revisit to explore that shit more, but I've got no interest in revisiting it whatsoever. So I'm kind of just stuck with this, like, I don't know what you wanted, I don't know what you really wanted me to do with this. And so it wasn't an experience I enjoyed very much at all, to be honest. I'm struggling to talk about the movie.
What did you give it out of 5?
I probably ended up on a 2, because some of the stylistic stuff was really good. The POV stuff worked in parts, and some of the really sort of full-on stuff was a little bit challenging. It was kind of, I don't know, there were parts where I was looking at it thinking, is this kind of supposed to be looking at horror fans and kind of making you watch this and think, you know, what are you feeling? Because this is kind of the entertainment that you're after. But it was really pushing the boundary a bit, and I didn't know how to take it all, really.
Yeah, look, I guess it's kind of more of a psychological type of slasher film, which you don't get a lot of, I guess. It has a good sort of the grimy aesthetics kind of works. The POV is an interesting choice, and the violence is brutal, except for one part which I thought was amusing, but I'll get to that. But it's brutally violent, and it doesn't sort of sort of pull away from it. Which, again, I think, as you say, is kind of, I think, what they were going for. They were sort of saying, look at this, like, look closely at this. It's kind of realistic.
Yeah.
But it is just let down by... It's plotless, as far as I can tell. Like, it really had nothing happening.
Which, I think, again, was what they were aiming for, like, spending all this time with him. But I wasn't really interested all that much in finding much more about him, you know?
There's no characters. Like, he's not even two-dimensional.
No.
Like, he's almost still one-dimensional, and the ending is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's just, I remember the original, right? I saw the original way back. right? And the original was made for nothing, and you know they were doing things on the sly, and it was a real sort of grimy kind of New York City. I think it was New York City, and the special effects were fantastic. It was Tom Savini,
Yeah.
but other than that, it was a real shit show,
Yep.
and it was a real sort of ugly film. And I don't think this has changed it much at all. And in fact, I'm going to the why bother. Why did you even look at this? Alex Arger, you know, he's a solid filmmaker.
Yeah.
What in the world had him thinking this is my next project?
Yeah, I don't know. It'd be interesting to find out. But yeah, it's just, as I said, I know there is horror circles that really love it, and I just can't see it. It's not the type of film that I want to really engage with in the genre. That's not really what I'm here for. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Look, it had some likes for me because
definitely had some likes.
There were sections and scenes that I think worked.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just get straight to the table. The point of view stuff, interesting choice,
Yeah.
different.
And especially at the start, I really liked the start where it's, you know, it's point of view, but you don't know that straight away until the camera starts moving like it's someone sort of looking left and right, and he starts whispering and things like that.
Yeah.
But it really gave you a kind of sense of what we were dealing with, and then he goes driving through like grimy parts of the city, but then starts making his way into the what you would call the normal or the safe parts of the city, and kind of gives you this sense of, you know, you're not really safe. And I kind of liked the opening. I thought it really worked there, the POV stuff.
Yeah, and I actually felt the opening death where he jams the knife up through her chin.
Yeah, that
and then he
was-
kind of touches her face and says, what does he say? Please don't scream. You're so beautiful.
Yeah, that
and I was
was-
kind of like, got a little bit of a chill out of that because I was kind of like, that was
shit, it was pretty confronting.
And then he scalps her
Yeah,
right
that
there
was-
in front of us.
nasty.
You know, again, kind of testing your boundaries a little, I
Yeah.
think, is what I would say that was.
Yep.
And, but like, not to sound like a bit of a scumbag, but
But are.
you get, yeah, as a horror fan, sometimes you want to step outside the comfort zone, which is something that's not
A little bit.
easy to take.
A little bit, and for a purpose,
Yes.
I suppose, yeah.
That's where, you know, the dislikes will come in.
Yep.
You know, I thought Elijah Wood was pretty good.
Yeah. Up and down.
He had that
for the most part. he
kind
was-
of weirdness that kind of worked.
yeah,
I think,
yeah.
for it.
Yeah.
And that baby face look probably gave it another point of difference, like not a
Yeah.
hulking maniac like this.
Yeah,
little
and it gave it
skinny-
a sense of again a more sort of realistic take on it. I
Yeah.
suppose that he's not a monster; he's a normal kind of looking guy. When you see him in the reflections, sometimes you're like, yeah, he just passes. He's a normal guy. He's
Yeah.
You look at him without that context of him, you know, whispering and carrying on and all that sort of stuff, and you're like, he's just an average looking person.
Yeah. I think the grimy look and the seedier side of LA, because I think they moved it to LA. I think that worked. I think that brought a little something to the table.
Yeah,
Gave it a different aesthetic. It wasn't as polished in its look that a lot of horror films are. You know, they're very well polished. So I think that actually worked in its favour.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'm not going to lie to you. I've got this in the likes purely because I actually felt something. Like, I actually felt something. When he kills the girl, he strangles her in an apartment, then scalps her, and he uses the razor, and then he has to kind of pull it off, you know, reef it off.
yeah,
It made me almost sick. Like, I
Yeah.
kind of went, oh, you know. And although that's, you know, you wouldn't sort of normally say it's a like, I guess these sort of films are certainly one like this, is pushing you to feel something.
yeah. I guess so. And it's they're the parts I'm talking about that were probably a little bit challenging.
And when
To a
and then
point.
he runs over and yaks and
And
everything because he feels sick himself.
And at this point, you thought it was. This is the thing. At this point, you were still in this mode of, all right, where are we going with this? Because it's really starting to, as you said, it's just starting to twist you around a little bit. So you're thinking where we're heading. You know, you're wondering where we're heading with it. But if it doesn't quite get there, which is where we'll get to later, you kind of look back on some of those things and think,
Yeah.
why? You're like,
Yeah, it feels gratuitous.
Yeah.
Somewhat.
I actually liked before that. I liked the kind of little meta moment about when she meets him in the restaurant.
Yeah.
And she describes what she thought he would look like, and it's essentially describing Joe Spinelli, the original.
Yeah, I like
You
that.
know?
I thought that was pretty cool.
And there was another
one where he
awesome
scalps
one
the
in
girl and he
reflection.
stands up in the reflection. It's exactly like the cover of the
Basically
original.
cover, that's right.
Yeah, I like that too.
Because it wasn't too in your face, but you picked up on it if you knew.
Yeah,
those
if you
little
knew
bits and pieces.
you sort of this film. I liked the mannequin shop. It had a real
really
creepy
strange
vibe, a real strange vibe.
Yep.
When he first meets Anna, it just had a weirdness about it, and it kind of once again taking away from the classic idea of the giant hulking silent killer and turning him into a meek and mild guy who's got a weirdness about him.
Yeah.
There's a weirdness there. And I thought that was pretty good. Probably the best scene for me in terms of the point of view and the way it worked was actually the scene where he starts in that girl's closet, the dancer.
Yeah.
And then he follows her into the subway.
Yep.
And then he chases her, and then he hides under the car and he cuts her Achilles tendon. That actually had a little bit of tense moments.
Yeah, the sequence was actually
I had a dislike to it as well.
The sequence was quite frightening.
Yeah.
I had a huge dislike to it, but the sequence from, as you said, basically exactly where you started.
And he's breathing heavily in the closet, and
yeah, all the way through to finishing that off it was really it was scary because you couldn't kind of get away from this, and it was prolonged, and it was, because of the POVs putting you in the eyes of the killer, basically.
And
it's really...
didn't shirk it didn't pull away when after she goes down he just stabs her, he starts stabbing her, and it's from his point of view the whole time.
Yeah.
It never cuts away, and it cuts away when he scalps her, so there's a little bit of restraint. It's nowhere near as graphic as the other ones, and I like the way the point of view worked there. Agreed, I've got a huge dislike to it, but overall I thought it was probably one of the better sequences in the film. There was a couple of really strange hallucinogenic type of scenes that kind of had me going, what the hell's going on here? I was a little bit out of the comfort zone. Like when he looks down and his junk's gone and it's replaced by like mannequin parts. And then there's another one where he's in the cinema.
Yeah.
And he just turns and she's a mannequin. She's like, look at it. Fucking what was that? I was creeped out by that.
Yeah.
And I felt that if they'd have been a little bit more subtle with that, because they really ran that shit down your throat after a while. Like, throughout the film, they consistently go into his mind.
Yeah.
And it's a strangely kind of generic place once we finally find out why he's a bit of a lost cause.
Yep.
But some of those things, they weren't. They were a little out of the box.
Yeah. Yeah, they were, as you said, it was one of the parts that was kind of taking you by surprise. So yeah, and there's something creepy about the mannequins.
Yeah. The whole mannequin idea is a good one. I think the last one for me is him getting his comeuppance by basically just getting ripped to shreds there at the end, which I believe is a fallback to the original. Is it? I don't in the original.
Yeah, I can't.
He has a dream or something like that in a similar thing.
I never bothered to pick up the original. I didn't think it was up my alley, and after seeing this one, I don't think I'll be going for it.
Steer clear of it if you can.
Yep.
But that was really it for me.
Yeah, that was pretty much me.
In a way, I struggle a little bit.
You've hit the same with the same marks that I had for most of them.
Yeah, I struggled a lot with what I was actually going to say. Yeah.
I didn't have even the likes. You were mentioning the ones about dragging you out of the comfort zone. Some of them I really disliked watching them.
Yeah, one in particular.
Yeah,
where he scalps the woman after he got her in the bath.
Yeah,
it was ugly.
Yep.
Like I was really uncomfortable with that. Dislikes. There is not a plot. If there is, I don't know what it was.
Yeah, I don't know. It's because it's in his head so much. I don't see a progression for him. because he's a fucking psycho at the start and he's a psycho at the end. But it's something, you know, it's around the other girl, but we don't spend enough time with her to see her sort of progressing in any way.
Yeah.
Like,
all of
the progression for him is supposed to be that she's the one of sorts.
Or he manages to have a normal relationship. That was kind of what I got, but it didn't really seem that normal. And secondly, there's a moment in the film near the end, and I'm not going to spoil it yet because I'm going to get into that ending, which I hated, where he's killed one of her friends, she's emotional, he comes round to see her, to comfort her. Yep. And to me, couldn't we have got some progression there? He comforts her, they have a moment together, he doesn't hurt her. You know what I mean? And the idea would be he's starting to have proper feelings for someone and not feel like he has to hurt them.
Yeah, I don't know. I just didn't know.
But they lost it.
Even at that point, I just didn't even know what you wanted me to feel for this bloke. What I was supposed to be getting out of the whole exercise. I'd kind of given up on it by that point.
Yeah,
I'd stop investing and I'd stop trying to figure out where. What I was doing there and just waiting for the fucking thing to finish, to be honest. Yeah. So, yeah.
There is a kind of connection between sex and graphic violence, which, you know, I've said this a few times. I'm not a prude, but I don't like that. I'm not a big fan of that type of stuff.
Well, this is the thing. I mean, there's
and I'm not knocking anyone who likes this film. I'm not saying that that's the issue.
No, there's links to that in some of the stuff that we love too, like Halloween and stuff, but it's more like moral tales and stuff like that.
But it's also more subtle, mate.
Yeah, it's more subtle, and it's just, I don't know. I don't care to see these really graphic. I never got too much into stuff like the French New Wave and that sort of thing either, because that's not really what I'm here for. You know, I'm not sitting here looking to challenge my beliefs about the violence and stuff like that, because I'm pretty comfortable in what I watch horror movies for.
I guess I'm more of an entertainment guy. Well, that's it. Horror films are about entertainment.
I want some entertainment, but I've gone through the horror films that I like and dug deep into them enough that I kind of know what I want to get from these, and this stuff isn't it.
No.
So
it just look. I know that they were trying to go that this is kind of like reality. There's a lot of killers out there who that's the connection, sex and death. You know, it's connected. But again, when you're floating into filmmaking where entertainment is part of what you're trying to offer, I don't know whether that fits. It's the same problem I had with Hostel somewhat.
Yeah.
Is I felt Hostel tread over the line from entertainment into something a little bit more.
Yeah, but see, even Hostel, I felt the purpose in that.
Yeah.
So the grime and the gore in that one didn't quite get me as much, and I think it's actually a little bit overrated in some aspects.
Yeah.
The grime and gore of that one compared to some other stuff, this would be one of them. To be honest, I find the shit in this far worse than the stuff in Hostel. And I got something out of the Hostel, you know, the ugly tourist and all that sort of shit that was going on.
There's a little bit more depth, I think, to Hostel than something like this. But if there was some depth in this, it went over my head.
Yeah, mate. So I'm happy to say part of it was probably that it went over my head. Part of it was that I didn't give a shit enough to really dig deep.
Yeah.
I didn't want to be around the character anymore.
The problem with the majority POV camera work means you can't build any other characters. They try to give us an understanding of why he is like he is.
Yep.
But it just comes across as cliche.
It does.
Mum was a prostitute.
It did. It was.
She slept with blokes in front of him, took drugs. She mistreated him, and he turned into a weirdo.
Yeah.
That was the bones of the whole thing.
Mhm.
So there's no arc. There's nothing.
Yeah, and as you were saying, he was building that connection with the girl that he seemingly didn't have with his mum, and you know, she'd tell him she loved him, but she wouldn't display it. But this girl was kind of, it seemed to be that she was, I don't know, she was paralleling the mum, or she was kind of giving him something that he didn't get.
Yeah.
But as you said, it didn't change anything.
Well, yeah, it didn't
Okay,
change him in any way. It didn't. They didn't have a section where he might have changed slightly
Yeah.
to show that maybe he didn't have to hurt women, because he always had a problem with women.
But
Because
I
of his mother.
don't even know if that needed to be the development, but he just didn't. I just felt there was no change whatsoever. If it, as you kind of described, it was just a collection of scenes.
Yeah.
That's what I felt anyway.
Here's my problem with the train scene that I really liked.
Yep.
Are you telling me that a subway station in Los Angeles doesn't have someone in it?
Doesn't have anyone.
Anyone. Including when she gets out on the street.
Well,
there is not a person inside.
You know, my big problem with the street is she's got a length on the bloke. She just needs to keep.
You know what we're talking about. 3 minute days.
I could probably go there. We'd probably, talk
Look,
about
he was
friendly
more
coach.
svelte, so he might have had a run in.
Yeah, look, he was svelte, but she had a length on him and she was on roads. Again, you're in LA, so there's going to be a car at some point, right? She turns into a fucking fenced off lot. Why? Stay on the road. You've got 50 metres on the bloke.
Eventually, a car's going to come along. We're talking about Los Angeles.
Exactly.
Mate, there are people on the streets of Los Angeles all night long.
And it was like she was doing smarter things up until that. She was in, as you said, she's in a subway station. You think someone was there, but she's circling that balcony so he can't kind of, if he moves, she moves. I'm like, yeah, she's making it tough for him. And then, okay, you just did the silliest thing.
Hang on,
you
into
do.
the fenced off lot.
Yeah, stay on the street. Oh, I don't know.
Good Lord. The ending is where things really go to shit.
Well, before you get there,
Yeah.
I might touch on a couple so we can discuss the ending at length. How the fuck did Martin miss him 3 times with a baseball bat?
Oh, fuck Martin. Martin has an absolute shocker.
He snuck up on him and missed him. And then he has 2 more swings.
You know my favourite bit of that, though? He gets the meat cleaver in the mouth, and that's the one I said, that was like, looks like something out of a Friday the 13th picture.
Yeah.
He's there going,
Yeah.
I was just like, this is bullshit.
Yeah.
Like, you've had this entire film where you've graphically killed people in a realistic manner and hurt them.
Yeah.
And then Martin walks in, swings swings away like bloody Jose Canseco, and then gets meat cleaver in the mouth.
Yeah, but Canseco would have connected. Surely. It was a large target, especially if you're sneaking up. Maybe he connected on the first one and it just didn't it was a glancing blow or something, but yeah.
But see, that's
not good enough, Martin.
That's
What were you there for?
yeah, Martin. Fuck, mate. Get in the batting cage, but the problem with that entire sequence is he goes round to Anna's place to console her, which to me was a perfect opportunity to showcase a slight change in the man's behaviour. But no, he immediately drops some sort of comment about how he may have killed her.
Yeah.
Then it's on for young and old, right?
Yep.
Then...
Was that the change? Did he just become careless with the information?
Oh shit! I'll let the cat out of the bag. My apologies. But he then knocks her out, doesn't he?
Yeah.
And then he puts her in the back of a van.
Yep.
She gets out, sticks a mannequin hand in his stomach.
Yeah. Which you're not walking off.
No, runs off at, as I said, not at 3-minute K pace. She was dawdly.
She's dawdly. She's 4.5. Tops.
Hey, 5.5. Once again, the streets of LA are fucking, it's bloody, I Am Legend.
Yeah.
There isn't a person in sight. She finally flags down the car,
Yep.
gets in it, runs him over, and then veers off into a concrete block.
That was...
I was just like, what the fuck is going on?
I was watching it and I was watching it on the iPad and I was just about to pick the thing up and throw it. I actually said to the screen, get fucked.
Yeah.
Like,
It's
this
just
is
ridiculous.
Just bullshit. That sequence in particular was just the worst in the movie. Like, I know there's the believability and all this sort of shit, but you got to make it fucking semi-realistic for me. Like, I mean, she runs him over after he's been stabbed. He fucking leaps back to his feet. And she goes flying out the fucking window. Like, give us some fucking credit, would you? Oh, give her some credit too.
I forgot that she gets like an airball or something goes flying out of the car.
Yeah, they show it upside down because obviously he's been fucking flattened at that time.
Yeah.
But again, as I said, he's fucking pepped up and ready to go pretty quickly after that. Bit of a shamble, a bit of a shambling walk. But Jesus, mate.
Let's face it, mate. He's probably got a busted leg.
Yeah.
Minimum.
I'm laying on the ground like Will Ferrell. Help!
Yeah!
Very badly, but
It smells like peanuts. Shit. I am not walking that off. In fact, you know what I'm doing? I'm hobbling off in the opposite direction going, shit, someone's going to be in a minute.
I'm rolling. I'm not even bothering to get back to my feet because I know there's some damage done there, so I'm just going to roll. I'm doing the pencil roll until I'm out of sight. Police report, the man was spotted rolling from the scene. And police are interested in talking to him.
A three-handed man was rolling from the scene. Mumbling something about mannequins. Yeah, that really took me out of it because part of the thing is this entire film has tried to play the whole it's realistic, get in his shoes. It's an emotionally draining experience being inside this guy's head. And then we have this fucking ridiculous bloody ending. And I'm not actually sure what ended up happening to him.
Him?
Yeah, what did he do to himself? I know he had the but that was not real. You know, him getting attacked by all these mannequins, all the girls.
Didn't he get shot?
I don't know.
Because the SWAT team
was there.
So I'm assuming he just got shot. My impression was that he got shot, and in his head was this kind of like the girls standing up for Anna and taking revenge on him or something. And I'm just like, that's fucking pointless because they're all dead. Yeah. So where's the win for anyone? Nowhere.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Look.
So you're a big fan of that ending?
Shocking. Shocking.
Oh fuck!
Look, it was hard. I actually didn't give it a score. One and a half. 1.5. Yeah. Look.
Yeah. So what? We established that he rolled home and then got shot. He got shot by the SWAT team.
Yeah. In fact, I'm surprised he wasn't shot on the street whilst rolling. Have you got anything else?
No, that was pretty much it. The ending was really confusing for me. Obviously, they were, as I said, I was beyond the point of caring at that point, and you obviously needed to dig into that a little bit. But is the women treating him like he fucking treated them, like the mannequins and whatever? But I was just like, done. I didn't care.
Yeah. All right, that's Mannequin. Sorry, Mannequin. I can't help. That's next week.
Oh, God.
That's Maniac. Fucking hell. Look, you can find us on iTunes, Spotify, and Podomatic. I actually signed us up to a new one. I think it's called Deezer. They haven't got back to me. So they're possibly not interested in
They must have listened.
Well, they're supposed to.
Right.
To check if the content's okay.
Okay. Don't expect to hear back. Don't sit on the computer, mate. You'll be waiting a while.
Refresh. Come on, fellas. Send us an email. Send us an email at thrillme@iinet.net.au. We're on Facebook at Thrill Me Podcast Australia and at Podomatic at thrillme.podomatic.com. We're also on Instagram at thrillmepodcast.au. The next episode, we're going into foreign territory with 2016's Train to Busan. Looking forward to that, actually. Haven't seen it, so hopefully that'll be a bit of a winner.
Yep.
But until then, take it easy and we'll catch up with everyone later. Cheers.
Find the podcast at Podomatic or on iTunes. Don't forget to rate and review. Like us on Facebook at Thrill Me Podcast Australia or contact us at thrillme, all one word, all lowercase, at iinet.net.au.